Hi, my name is Trevor Rudeseal, and I'm going to be doing my speech on the book of James. I'm going to be going over the author, the audience, the date, the style, the central themes, key passages, and the conclusion. The author identifies himself as James, Jesus' brother and the servant of the Lord. He became a key leader in the Jerusalem church, as seen in Acts 15 during the Jerusalem Council. According to Douglas Moo in the letter of James, his Pillar New Testament commentary, the early church consistently called the author James the brother of Jesus Christ. And the authority in the letter fits the role of someone in a leadership spot in the Jerusalem church. Take Luke Timothy Johnson in his Sacripagina commentary on James also supports this identification. James 1 says the letter was written to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations. This likely refers to Jewish Christians living outside of Israel, dispersed throughout the Roman Empire. Moo argues that the language reflects a Jewish Christian audience facing hardship and religious pressure. The letter assumes familiarity with Jewish law and wisdom tradition, and it reflects concerns about poverty, persecution, and other moral issues common among early Jewish believers living in diaspora communities. So the audience was likely Jewish Christians experiencing things like trials, temptations, poverty, inability to control the tongue, and overall evil in their lives. Since James wrote the letter, it was likely written before his death, which occurred between 62 AD and 69 AD. Many scholars date it was even earlier, between 45 and 60 AD. Moo and Davids both suggest that James may be one of the earliest New Testament writings. A reason is the absence of reference to major theological arguments, such as the circumcision debate in Paul's letters. That means that it could be a sign of it being written earlier, possibly before the Jerusalem Council in Acts 15, around 48 to 49 AD. The style of James resembles many Old Testament books, like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, and it also shares similarities with Jesus' teaching in Matthew 5, which is the Sermon on the Mount. Luke Timothy Johnson notes that James uses short and direct instruction rather than long theological argument. It's less like a letter in the style of Paul, and more like a collection of wise sayings or a sermon. James uses cool and wise metaphors, such as the tongue being fire and your life being a mist, and God's word as a mirror. The central themes of this book include the importance of faith and works together, as mentioned in James chapter 2, perseverance in trials and temptations, as mentioned in chapter 1, speech and self-control, as mentioned in James chapter 3, wealth and poverty in James chapter 5, wisdom from above in James chapter 4, and finally, patience and suffering, as mentioned in James chapter 5. James 2:14 says that faith without works is dead, and it seems to be contradictory to Paul's teachings at first. But with a closer look, it's actually not. He's not saying that works save you. He's saying that if you don't produce works, do you really have faith? Sometimes we have faith, but we refuse to work. James isn't trying to be contradictory. He's only calling out the people who refuse to show their faith through their works. In conclusion, James wrote about real problems and real solutions to those problems. His writings are incredibly influential, helping many people overcome trials and temptations, and keep a hold on their tongue, plus helping people turn to Jesus. Thank you.